If you want to get more videos like this, please hit the red subscribe button. In the quiet hours before dawn on the 23rd of January, 1556, a profound and terrible event unfolded beneath the Earth's surface. Deep within the Wei River Valley, in what is now Shaanxi Province, China, the very foundations of the land gave way. This was not merely a tremor, it was a cataclysmic rupture that would be felt across an immense area, altering the landscape and the course of human history forever. The event, known as the Jiajing Great Earthquake, occurred during the reign of the Jiajing Emperor of the Ming Dynasty. It remains to this day the deadliest earthquake ever recorded, a stark reminder of the immense and often unpredictable power that lies dormant within our planet. Its significance is not just in its power but in the devastating human cost it exacted. The epicenter was located in the Wei River Valley, near the cities of Huaxian, Weinan, Huayin. The numbers associated with the 1556 Shaanxi earthquake are honestly difficult to comprehend. Modern scientific analysis estimates its magnitude to be around 8 on the Richter scale, a truly powerful seismic event. However, its historical infamy comes from its devastating impact on human life. Historical records state the earthquake directly caused the deaths of approximately 100,000 people. This figure alone would make it one of the worst natural disasters in history. But the true toll was far greater. The subsequent chaos, famine, plague, and devastating landslides led to the loss of an additional 730,000 lives. In total, the death toll is estimated to be around 830,000 people. This staggering loss of life represented a significant portion of the population in the affected provinces. In the hardest-hit areas, it is believed that up to 60% of the inhabitants perished. The scale of the destruction to property was equally absolute. Entire cities were leveled. In Huaxian, which lay at the epicenter, not a single structure was left standing. Temples, government buildings, and countless homes were obliterated. The famous Forest of Stone Steles in Xi'an was severely damaged, with many of the ancient stones broken. The small Wild Goose Pagoda, a landmark that had stood for over 800 years, had its top 3 stories shaken off, reducing its height by several meters. Small Wild Goose Pagoda as it stands today. To understand why the 1556 earthquake was so uniquely deadly, one must look at how and where the people of Shaanxi lived. The region is part of the Loess Plateau, an area covered by vast deposits of loess, a fine yellowish wind-blown silt that has accumulated over millennia. This soil is incredibly fertile, which is why the Wei River Valley became a heartland of Chinese agriculture and civilization. For thousands of years, people had thrived here, cultivating the rich earth. However, the very material that gave them life also made them extraordinarily vulnerable to the shaking of the ground. It was a fatal paradox embedded in their way of life. For centuries, the inhabitants of the Loess Plateau had developed a unique form of dwelling known as a yaodong. These were artificial caves dug horizontally into the steep cliffs and hills of Loess. Yaodongs were economical to create, requiring few building materials, and they offered natural insulation, cool in the hot summers and warm in the cold winters. For the largely agrarian population, these cave dwellings were a practical and traditional housing solution. Whole communities existed within these man-made warrens, interconnected tunnels and chambers forming complex subterranean villages. Life was lived, quite literally, inside the earth. When the earthquake struck, these yaodongs became deadly traps. The fine, silty loess, while stable under normal conditions, lacks structural integrity. Under the violent shaking of a magnitude 8 earthquake, the cliffs of Loess collapsed. The cave dwellings, which had provided shelter for generations, simply caved in. Entire families were buried alive as they slept with no chance of escape. The very ground that formed their walls and ceilings became their tomb. The massive landslides buried not just individual homes but entire villages in an instant, entombing them under millions of tons of earth. The Shaanxi earthquake of 1556 left an indelible mark on China, a deep scar beyond the physical reshaping of the land. The sheer scale of death and destruction dealt a severe blow to the Ming Dynasty. An estimated 830,000 people died. Many were productive farmers, many were skilled artisans. The loss crippled the region's economy for decades. Cities and infrastructure were destroyed, rebuilding was enormous and costly, the imperial treasury was strained. This financial burden, plus internal pressures, plus external pressures, contributed to the Ming's gradual decline over the next century. Immediately after the quake, scholars and officials entered a period of profound reflection. They sought to understand the cause of the calamity. At the time, disasters were often seen as signs of heavenly displeasure with the emperor. The Jiajing emperor performed acts of penance, hoping to appease the heavens. But alongside ritual explanations, a practical scientific curiosity also emerged. Scholars like Qin Keida, a survivor, documented his observations, moving toward naturalistic explanations. He emphasized seeking safety in open spaces and offered concrete survival advice. Qin Keida's notes are among the earliest attempts to draw practical lessons from an earthquake. He recorded that people who got outside and away from collapsing buildings survived more often. He described pre-shocks and aftershocks and gave instructions for those trapped. This move from superstition to practical advice marked a step forward in thinking about disasters. Those observations laid early groundwork for earthquake preparedness and public safety education, a legacy of reason from the rubble. The memory of the quake endures for nearly 5 centuries. It is remembered as a tragedy and as a turning point. Local gazettes and imperial records offer invaluable data sets for modern seismologists and historians. Scientists can cross-reference geological data with human accounts, building a fuller picture of the quake's behavior and impact. The lessons of 1556 are written in the stone and soil of Shaanxi. The tragedy of 1556 carries a powerful and enduring message. It is a stark illustration. The deadliest part isn't the shaking. It's the collapse of buildings. Building design is a matter of life and death. It's now the cornerstone of modern earthquake engineering. We study how to build structures that bend and sway, not break. It's a global priority in seismically active regions. From the ashes of Shaanxi, we learn to understand local geology, loess soil, dangerous cave dwellings built into loess. That soil amplified the disaster. Modern seismic mapping now considers soil types, fault lines, liquefaction, landslides. Planners use that data to write building codes and to create zoning laws that restrict construction in risky areas. This proactive, data-driven approach protects communities and helps prevent repeats of 1556. The quake also underscores the vital importance of public awareness and education. Survivor writings like Qin Keida's were early lessons in preparedness. Today, governments run drills: drop, cover, hold on. They also promote emergency kits and family communication plans. The aim is to replace panic with practiced response. Advice from 1556, get to open space, still saves lives. The Great Shaanxi Earthquake is more than history. It's living memory. It benchmarks progress in seismology, in engineering, and in disaster response. We can't stop tectonic plates from moving, but we can learn from the past to build a more resilient future. 830,000 lives lost in 1556 are a solemn reminder and an impetus for innovation. By heeding those echoes, we honor the victims and work to ensure such a catastrophe is never repeated on that scale again. If you want to get more videos like this, please hit the red subscribe button.